Hello students, and welcome to the third week of our class. So far we have covered topics including what is environmental science. We've talked about ecosystems and what an ecosystem is, how an ecosystem functions, how energy moves, how materials cycle through. And we've also talked about populations. We looked at both natural populations, talking about logistic and exponential growth. And then we also took a look at the special topic of human population and how our global human population has changed and the factors that influence that. So now that we've covered what I would consider all the background information you need to understand about how the world works before the impact of humans in it, now we're going to start moving on to these sort of individual problems that we're facing. And the first one that we're going to tackle is we're going to look at air pollution. Okay, so you'll learn a little bit about the atmosphere in this lesson. We'll talk about different types of air pollutants. We'll talk about sort of some of the health impacts on humans that those air pollutants have. And we'll also talk about the difference between outdoor air pollution and indoor air pollution in both industrialized countries like the United States and Canada and Australia and Great Britain and places like that, but also comparing those to countries that are still developing, okay? So parts of the world where they don't have as easy access to things like electricity and cars that can run on electricity, for example, and they need sort of fuel, and they have different standards for clean air than we do. So we're going to compare and contrast those situations. So just sort of going through the materials for this week again, the format is very similar to what you've seen so far. So I have all of the lecture materials here for you, including a link to the readings, a lecture, and the lecture notes. Under the assignment module this week, you will find your discussion. But remember, discussion's a little different now. I'm not going to do discussion anymore. It's not me who's in charge of it. Now it's you who's in charge of discussion. So last week in the link to sign up to be discussion leader, I gave you an example of what a discussion forum should look like for this moving forward. So each week we will have a different discussion leader. You are in charge of finding a news article that relates to the topic that we're talking about this week. In this case, it's air pollution. And you're responsible for both posting a link to your article, giving me a 1-paragraph summary, and then a 1-paragraph response. And the responses are not a response. 1-paragraph summary, and then 1 paragraph that says, why did you choose this article? Why was it interesting to you? What did you learn from it? Those types of things. As discussion leader, you do not need to respond to anyone else this week, okay? So your only job is to get this discussion up before Thursday of the week so that everybody else has time to respond to it, all right? I've given you a video on exactly what this looks like and how this works. So I'll show you how to create a forum in your discussion group, how to post your summary, all those types of things. So please watch this video. It's very important. It's got all the instructions that you need for it. Another thing that we have this week that is a little bit different is we're going to start talking about the Green Technology Project. So I haven't done any discussion about green technology yet. You can watch this video that I've posted. Please note that this is for a different section of the class. So I believe I did this for my Bio 103 class in the spring. So the dates aren't going to match up with what you hear in the video with what we're actually discussing, but it's the same idea, right? So I'm giving you an overview of what the project is, what you can expect, what the pieces are, all of that stuff. It's just the dates aren't going to match up. If you want to find sort of the newest and latest information about the Green Tech Project, go into additional materials and then click on Green Technology Presentation. And then I give you some information here. So I give you a project timeline. So when the topic brainstorm is due, when the outline's due, the presentation itself, and then we're going to have some evaluations that are a piece of this. So this is your chance to learn a little bit more about a very specific type of technology that interests you. What is out there that's the latest and the greatest that's making our world a better place, right? Is it a new type of battery for electric trucks, for example? Electric cars are kind of old. I don't want to say they're old. They're not old, but electric cars are not a new technology. But that electric technology is being put into some new fascinating things like semi-trucks, for example. That would be like a really great topic, talking about what's next and new when it comes to electric vehicles. You can talk about all kinds of things. There are new technologies for different types of tiles that can clean pollutants out of the air. green ways to be buried rather than our traditional methods of burial where we put bodies in the ground. There are actually greener ways that we can do that. So lots of things here to develop and talk about. I'm going to post a link if I haven't already done it. I don't think I did. If I haven't already done it, I'm going to post a link to a page where I show you some examples of some of these projects from years past. I believe it's this one right here. So I do have some examples from years past. I mean, don't like copy these folks. I'm showing you examples of what other people have done, but again, please don't copy them. This is just an idea on things that you can sort of look at for inspiration, if you will. What I'd really like you to do is find a topic or something that sort of rings true for you and you're like, oh yeah, I think that's really interesting. That's what I think I want to do my topic on. The brainstorm is literally just 3 ideas. They don't have to be thought out or fleshed out, really. Just give me the topic and a little bit about what that means. So if you want to talk about the Impossible brand of meat-like products, right? The Impossible Company, so they create a bunch of plant-based meat alternatives, and if you'd like to talk about them, that's great. You would just put a little bit of a blurb, like a couple of sentences about what that happens to be. Okay, that's all you have to do. So that's all that's required for this project, is just a little bit of sort of fleshing things out and telling me, what are some ideas that you have. All right. So beyond that, like I said, everything else is basically the same this week. So we'll go through sort of the same motions. We are going to be coming up on your first exam fairly quickly. So after week 4, then week 5 is going to be, I believe, exam number 1. So in not this week's topic folder, but next week's topic folder, I will actually have a study guide for you and more information about what you can expect for the exam. As always, if there's anything that I can do to help or questions that you have, please reach out to me. That's what I'm here for, and I'll talk to you all again soon. Bye, everybody.